and what it was like for you building Paystack and going on to selling the company and still leading it afterward and everything else involved. So I think my first question for you today is, what was it like the day you decided to become an entrepreneur?
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Hi, everyone. My name is Shola Akinlade. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Paystack. I have to do that before I start. I'm actually excited to be here. I know it's a very intimate crowd. I like intimate crowds. So thank you. I feel like some of you could have been outside networking, but you chose to be here. So we'll definitely try to make it worth it. So thanks so much for coming. Yeah, so to the question, what did it feel like the day I decided to become an entrepreneur? I like to say that I actually don't think I'm an entrepreneur. Like, it's so random, but I just think like I make things, and I've always loved to make things, and I've just also been lucky that the things I make change. So at first I was doing designs, and then I was building websites, and so my instinct is, until today, I'm just fired up by building things and solving problems. So I don't know if that's the answer you were looking for. But
So you were a born entrepreneur.
I don't know.
There's a lot you have to learn.
I'm a maker. I'm a creative. I'm a builder. I'm a crafts person. So, and I know we talk a lot about entrepreneurship from the perspective of, oh, you set up a lemonade stand and you're selling that. Yeah. But my approach to entrepreneurship has always been different. It has been just do something beautiful, just do something remarkable, and and see how it goes.
I mean, for me also as an entrepreneur, I also often say the hardest thing is just getting going. It doesn't have to be perfect at first. Just start.
Exactly.
But oh, sorry, I need the mic. But what is the best and the worst thing about being an entrepreneur?
Yes. So again, for every question, I'm going to just sneak in extra introductions. So Paystack is a payments company. We help merchants accept payments from their customers. We launched in 2016. That's about 8 years ago. And today we're live in Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, Kenya, Cote d'Ivoire. We accept more than half of the payments in Nigeria, and we've made a lot of progress. So what is the best and what is the worst part of being an entrepreneur? Should I start from the worst? I think the worst part is, we don't talk about it enough, but it's a lonely journey, right? It's maybe not in the context of loneliness, but it is. If you think about where we started Paystack in 2016, and you're moving. It's like you're running a marathon, and by the time you look back, you're seeing new sets of people, So you have to make new relationships and build new relationships every year, and I don't know if I generally definitely appreciate some of the older relationships I had in 2016, 2017. But if I think about the people I'm dealing with now, it's a new set of people. And I wish it wasn't that. Yeah. I wish you could keep your relationship. And we definitely do keep relationships, but I think the point is, the fast pace of moving and serving new customers every time means that you have to, and I think for me personally, I care about customer intimacy. So it feels somehow to be intimate with customers every time over a long period. So I'll say that is one of the things that is a bit challenging. The other part is finding people to help you do your work, which is talent. I know a lot of people talk about it, but it is really hard. It's when you have a vision in your head, or when you have the right people to help you execute it, is very, very hard. And so you have to make a decision. Should I do it myself, or should I find someone that can do 40% of it or 50% of it? And constantly making that decision is hard.
Yeah, I know, at least in my journey, the hard thing for me was learning how to delegate.
Exactly.
Learning how to trust others to do it. You know, I imagine you've gone through that. What?
Yes.
You started, was the team the day Paystack was invented?
It was just me. And you're correct. And unfortunately, you can't just Google how to delegate and see the answer. So it's not straightforward. You're gonna have to figure it out. So that's the worst part. The best part, there's so many good parts, which is the good part. The best part for me is really driving change. It is thinking about something and seeing the impact of that. You know, so I like to talk about Paystack, where in 2016, when Paystack went to Y Combinator, everybody was saying, we cannot invest because the market size is small. How many people are paying with cards in Nigeria? Guess what? Today, Paystack is doing more than 50 times what Nigeria was doing in 2016 when Paystack launched.
So you just changed the ecosystem.
Exactly. So it's exciting. It's exciting when you just see that, you have this vision, and very across all markets, even Paystack Kenya. It's like you have a vision of what Paystack can look like in Kenya, and 2 years later you see the progress. I think it's so rewarding.
And I know, there's a lot of founders here who have traveled, far down to hopefully meet an investor, potentially start that conversation around investment. As someone who has raised substantial capital, has convinced someone to acquire your company, what is your advice to an early stage entrepreneur? Because fundraising arguably is not a natural process for many. So what's your advice to them in figuring out how to pitch, how to talk to people?
My advice is usually very counterintuitive. Again, I think from my journey, from the conversations we've had, you will hear that. And I like to start from the point of saying that the work of a founder is to build a good business. The work of an investor is to invest in good businesses. And so, as a founder, just knowing at the back of your mind that if I build a good business, the right investors will invest. So I shouldn't be trying to convince, that's not my work. My work is to build a good business. So I like to really, really encourage founders to focus on what really matters, which is building something remarkable. And then the second part is telling a good story, because unfortunately people also do it wrongly. And I'm very lucky and I'm very glad, I'm very thankful that even though I like to say, I'm a craftsperson, I'm an artist, I'm still able to tell the Paystack story in a way that works, So because again, you think of a founder, you're focusing on your business. I'm not going to be on Twitter. I'm not going to be on social media. And that's the right thing to do. But you have to find the right ways to articulate what your company does and the progress your company is making. And so back to talking to investors, it means that you need to, A, build something remarkable, B, be resourceful enough to articulate, to find places where you can articulate what you're doing. And a good tactic for knowing how to articulate and sell your company is no other person can come and say the same thing. So said differently, someone can come and meet me and say, I'm building a lending company for Africa. There's so many other people that can do that. What is remarkable about that? And so in Paystack in 2016, when we were selling Paystack, I think there were 3 core points we were trying to land to investors. I think the first one is payments is broken in Africa. We can fix it because we have built software for banks before, and we have actually built an MVP. We already have 300 people using it. And so by the time you combine that, you start getting clear that, yes, payments is broken. I think these guys can build it. And I see that they've made progress in building it. Yeah. I should support them. So I hope more people use that framework.
Okay, and tell me what it was like the day you got the phone call and you knew the acquisition was going through. Was it excitement? Was it a little heartbreaking?
No. It was normal. it was a Tuesday. I think the good news, and I talk about it a lot of myself also, like my journey has been a very organic journey. If anything, the day I remember was the day Y Combinator. The day I got a phone call from Y Combinator. Because when you go for the interview, basically they flew us, okay, I'll tell that story very quickly. We applied for Y Combinator from Lagos. They flew 500 companies to San Francisco. They had to pick about 100. If they like you, they will call you. If they don't like you, they will email you at 6 p.m., between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. or something like that. And so for us, we definitely didn't expect to get in. I like to say that we just wanted to go to San Francisco to take a photo and say, oh, we've been in San Francisco. So when we got there, we started talking to companies and we met people. Someone was building a bra that detects breast cancer. So you wear the bra, you download the app, and it's scanning. And if it says anything, it notifies you. Someone was building a shirt that never gets dirty. And so when people ask us, what are you guys doing? We're like, oh, we don't know what we're doing. We're building payments for Africa. And we're like, yo, how many people are in Africa? We're like, oh, maybe like over 1 billion people. Like, what? That's going to be big. And so, but again, we were not sure. So at 7 p.m. or something like that, I just got a phone call, 650. And I was like, hello, it was like Michael Cyber. We want to see, we like you guys. Would you like to accept our offer, $120,000 for 7%? I'm like, yes. And I called my parents, yeah, my life is about to change. Called all my friends. And Y Combinator is so crazy. Like 1 week later, they sent money to our account, $120,000. This was me that by the time I was leaving Lagos, I probably had like $3,000. And I'd already even spent it in San Francisco on hotel bills. Like $120,000. Like, yo, this is the life. and I designed that this is the last money we would ever make. And then, fast forward 3 months later, we did a demo day like this, which was good and bad. But at the end of that process, we raised $1.3 million. So again, that's like
just from demo day.
Yes, and post-demo day. Demo day itself was like 600K, but post-demo day. But then I had to speak to 60 people before getting about 13, 14 yeses. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so again, it started getting easier. We got a bank card, and it was from First Republic Bank, I don't know if I can shout out to them. And they said that card I can use is unlimited. And I'm like, okay. I felt so powerful having like, and then Michael Seibel from YC told me that as a founder, the first thing I want you to understand is if you have a problem money can solve it with money, because those are the best problems. The hardest problems are problems that money cannot solve. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I like this. So, and just to summarize. And then I met Patrick Collison for lunch at Stripe office. And the next day he texted me, oh, do you want Paystack to invest? And then again, offered, and we raised $8 million from Stripe and Visa. So as you can see that progression, when the acquisition happened, it was just a Tuesday. It was just like, yeah, whatever.
So it was like a snowball effect. It's like a snowball effect. Exactly. You know, at the top of the mountain, the snowball starts real small, but by the bottom, it gets real big, and that's where you are today. And it doesn't seem like you're slowing down at all either, right?
No. Because the problem still exists. Africa has 17% of the world's population, but just 2% of digital commerce. So there's a lot of work. There's a lot to be built every day. I'm so like, I don't know if the Visa guys are here, but I had a meeting yesterday and I'm so excited about like, oh, tap to pay, this, that. You know, so I think there's just so much to build, and Africa is the best place to build, and the problems never stop. And so if you're a problem solver, it is just the best place to be, and especially, and that's why I consider myself lucky and thankful, if you have the resources, like, and the team, the partners, the licenses, I like to say, to whom much is given, much is expected. Countries have given us licenses, like Kenya, Central Bank of Kenya has given us a license, help us with payments in South Africa. In Kenya, we have a license in Nigeria, we have in Ghana. So that is a lot of responsibility. And I'm like, we have to build this, it has to work. So yeah.
I love how you take responsibility for these licenses and for these things. Because there are institutions out there, they have all of these licenses already that entrepreneurs want, but they don't do anything with them. They're not trying to innovate. You guys, hello?
Yeah.
You guys are absolutely killing it on that. So that's amazing. Now, having talked to, I'm assuming, probably over 1,000 investors, probably even more in your career over 10 years and so, what advice would you give to investors? Whether it be early stage, later stage, growth stage, what advice would you give to them in regards to, how they should, I guess, take Africa more seriously?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I'm thinking so hard. I think 2 or 3 things. I think the first one, like you said, is Africa has so many problems. I remember most of the no's we got, it was because people said 2 things. We can't trust the regulatory environment. It's just too complicated. And we can't trust that you will be able to even get more money to run your company. And so I feel like the first thing is just the commitment. When you find partners and founders that are committed to a cause, it is the right thing, because guess what? You're correct. The regulatory environment is hard. Everything is hard in Africa. But the solution to hard work is persistence. It is resilience. And so my first advice to investors is, when you find someone that is resilient, persistent, and has clarity on what they're trying to do, please support them, because you can unlock a lot of value. I like to say I am the most average person I know. Like, I don't know anything, literally, which helped me because I just started hiring people that knew so many things. But the only thing I try to do is to be consistent, is to show up every day for 9 years. And I will show up for the next 9 years, and it doesn't matter what I have. So I think the first advice for investors is really look for that. And if you find it, please support them, please. And this is also for even like non-investors, because the success story of Paystack is even mostly from the ecosystem. It's mostly from people that, I'm studying at Harvard Business School, I just want to help you. I work at Standard Chartered Bank or EcoBank, I just want to support you. So everybody in the ecosystem, when you find someone or something that is going in the right direction, please, let's support them. I think that's the first thing. The second one is, sometimes I feel like investors invest in your company and they want to run the company for you. And one of the clarity I got that really solved all my anxiety issues was, it is my company, it is my vision. And you are just investing in me because you hopefully understand that vision and you think I can execute it. So if you wanted to run the company, come and take the company. But if I'm going to be the one to run the company, please support me and let me do what I want to do. So I started filtering out advice, because as a founder, it's not balanced, right? When I sit down with someone that has $10 million to give me, I automatically think I literally have to look up to them. Yeah. But we all make mistakes. So whatever they say, I automatically assume that it is correct. But it doesn't need to be correct. And that's where lots of companies start missing it. And so I would just say, the first one again, find the right people and support them. And B, do not be too, don't be too like intrusive. Let them figure it out, because I think about this every day. You think about it in minutes. You think about it in seconds. I think about it in years.
There's a lot of advice out there, and a lot of it's not good advice, you know. Now, I see Samke is giving me the sign that it's time, but Newbie made me promise to ask one last question.
Sorry, I was talking too much. I'll keep it simple.
It's all good, it's all good. So Newbie wanted me to ask you, what did you spend your first paycheck on?
What paycheck?
The first paycheck of your career.
Oh, I'm from Nigeria, so you have to give your parents. So I gave my parents, I think. To be honest, unfortunately for me, I never, like I said, I've been building stuff. So, yeah, but the first paycheck I can remember, I think I gave it to my parents. And then they probably just gave it to me back.
Well, great. They've supported you throughout thick and thin, so.
But the question you didn't ask, that people ask is, after the acquisition, what was the first thing I bought? And this is random, but I just went to Nike store. And I went to pick I used to remember when I go to Nike store, I just go to the $85 parts. I don't go to the expensive parts of the store. So I just went to the store and I left the cheap part. I went to the expensive part. And I picked 2 sneakers there, and I was like, good, thanks.
Well, you got to pay yourself every once in a while, right? Shola, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks so much for having me.